George Kittle, Christian McCaffrey, and the San Francisco 49ers take on CJ Stroud, Will Anderson Jr., and the Houston Texans. A must-win for Houston. Look, they're 2-4 coming off of an atrocious loss on the road at Seattle. Now, that is a very good Seattle team, but they got after CJ Stroud. He has not been protected the entire season. Of course, they let Laramie Tunsil walk, and they decide that the offensive line will be fine. It's clear and obvious that this offensive line cannot protect their quarterback well enough, and now there are the concerns with their wide receiver core. They haven't had a number two the entire season, but with the concussion to Nico Collins, as of right now, his status for this game on Sunday is completely in doubt. It's trending towards him not playing. I'm recording this on Wednesday afternoon. Now, for the San Francisco 49ers, that was a big win on Sunday Night Football against a high-flying Falcons team. They were soaring after that win on Monday night against the Buffalo Bills, and San Francisco shut them down. All the injuries, no Fred Warner, the captain, inside backer to that defense. How much he's meant to this organization. They showed him a couple of times, still in good spirits. That was nice to see. But of course, one of my favorite players in the league, I'm sure a lot of yours as well. And then of course, Nick Bosa, when he'd been out for the year a couple of weeks prior to that, they still were flying around, getting pressure on Michael Penix Jr., not allowing Bijan Robinson to wreck the game. I've got the question still. Raheem Morris calls Bijan the best player in the league. He takes him out on a 4th and 1 and they throw the football. I'm just gonna question that still. That's what I do in these videos. For San Francisco, 3rd and 13, and they are able to pick up the 3rd down at the end of that game. Christian McCaffrey is like, I'm a little bit tired. Kyle Shanahan's like, no. You're our best player. You get back out on the field. Mac Jones finds him. I cannot say enough about the level of play Mac Jones has been at this season. The high completion percentage, getting the ball out on time, not holding the football too long. He's been tremendous for them. Of course, Christian McCaffrey has top 10 wide receiver numbers. Believe it's 3 receiving touchdowns. He's 8th in the NFL in receiving yards as of right now. It's incredible to see a guy that when he's healthy, you just know he's a top 2, top 3 running back in the NFL whenever he's healthy. That's exactly what he is on the year. Now, the yards per carry hasn't quite been there. For Houston, it's important that they shut down McCaffrey in the pass game. I'm almost going to bring that up first just because of how much of a threat he is getting targets out of the backfield. He's been their number 1 target. And then there's Kendrick Bourne, been very effective for San Francisco on the year. He's got that connection. He knows Mac Jones very well from their time together in New England. Now, that Houston defense, that's been the largest bright spot, of course. They did everything they could to limit Seattle. The strip sack, fumble, and then recovered by Will Anderson in the end zone for a touchdown. Talk about trying to affect and win a game all by yourself. He's showing exactly why they took him 3rd overall, traded up to take him a couple years ago in the draft, right in that pick directly after CJ Stroud, a 2-time Defensive Player of the Year in the SEC, showing exactly why he deserved those accolades and continues to play at that level. They need him to disrupt this game. Mac Jones has to get off of his spot. Kyle Shanahan and this staff are coaching better than any other staff in the NFL. With all of the injuries, when George Kittle was out for several weeks, he didn't even have a catch against Atlanta on Sunday night. Still, the offense was moving down the field. It's very cool to me to see some of these guys like a Mac Jones. And you talk about even like a Sam Darnold last week, some of these players that were taken and they wind up in different spots, 1st-round picks, driven out of town, so to say, and they find new homes and they're just playing the best football of their career. Mac looks to be the starting quarterback for this game. This turf toe injury is a long-term concern right now for Brock Purdy. What does he even look like when he is out on the field? For San Francisco, though, his record on the year, very good coming in as the starter. I really don't see a reason to go with Brock when his status isn't fully healthy, as long as Mac Jones is showing he can win football games, and that's what he is. Now, this is a defense in Houston. I think that their fans, you're watching this as a Houston fan, they were disappointed in the play of their secondary, guys like Kamari Lassiter, Derek Stingley. They thought that there could be the one-on-one matchup where Stingley could hold up in coverage against Jackson Smith and Jigba. When I did that preview video just about a week ago, I was saying I'm fascinated by this matchup because I think Stingley can go man for man with JSN, take him. Or you can rotate the coverage and you have the cloud cover. You've got the cloud cover underneath and you've got a safety over the top to take JSN away. And then you can go man-to-man on Cooper Kupp, and then Derek Stingley can take someone else on the other side out of the game. And really, it was just about JSN. There wasn't a huge passing attack from Seattle. The Houston Texans had, 4 takeaways in this game, only able to muster 19 points when they were set up with great opportunities throughout the day to score. You saw that evidenced by their inability to run the football goal to goal. They had a 2nd and goal at the 1-yard line, and they were not able to punch it in. You cannot make this stuff up. A guy like Leonard Williams disrupting the entire game for them. Houston has to protect Stroud better. Otherwise, they're just not going to have a shot to get back into the standings because he's going to get hurt. He's going to get injured. He cannot take this many hits. Thankfully, he's built well. He's a big, strong kid, and he has, that background of the strength from Ohio State and their training. They've built guys to be able to have success in the NFL and really testing them when they're young, developing them into warriors once they get into the league, as evidenced by Stroud's former teammate JSN going off 123 yards, a touchdown, 8 catches. It felt like double that on the day because he was coming up with these big grabs on 3rd down, just killing them on 3rd down. There is a positive that they were better against the run. It's just Seattle kept after it. They kept going at it, saying, hey, we're going to try and remain balanced here. They only had 3.6 yards a carry, still had the 2 touchdowns on the ground. Charbonnet pounds both of them in, and they ran the ball 33 times. So that shows that really that they were still trying to commit to it despite Sam Darnold being a little bit inconsistent. But when you dial up a play like Cooper Kupp throws a pass and he gets intercepted, you can't say that Houston didn't have their chances. And then on the other side of that, Houston against San Francisco, I do not want to see CJ Stroud throwing the football more than 40 times. Throughout the night, it was still a 2-score game. Second half, they kept going drop back pass. You heard the announcers, Dan Orlovsky, Louis Riddick saying, get under center, try and establish a bit of the run game. They go and run the football 3rd and 1, get stuffed. And then 4th and 1, they get stuffed when they were saying, why don't we try and roll CJ Stroud out, get him on the perimeter, and that's what you'll need to see him do against San Francisco. When you watch a Kyle Shanahan, a Sean McVay, a Matt LaFleur style offense, how much of it is under center, 11 personnel, with the play action that then you create off of that. They don't even have to run the ball for over 4 yards a carry. It's because of the balance that they have. The defense needs to respect the threat of the run, and then you see the play fakes and how effective that Stafford and how effective even Jordan Love is when they're able to have that balance running the football well, and you're seeing these teams play really strongly. So 17 carries on the day, that's not good enough. I can't think of a team that's in more need of a ground game right now to help their quarterback than Houston. It's very tough. They don't have Joe Mixon, but frankly, how much success would Joe Mixon have with an offensive line struggling to this level? It was great to see Jalen Manoa. I think if I'm a San Francisco 49er fan, unless I'm from Iowa, right? So George Kittle, he's probably aware of Iowa State Cyclones, the 2 of them on this team for Houston. Jaden Higgins, Jalen Noel, a larger role in this offense. He's clearly that burner, that flanker type wide receiver that can create separation. CJ Stroud had him on a couple of times. You saw that his best performance, he actually looks to be sort of like that number 2 outside threat behind Nico. But if they don't have Nico Collins in this game, it really figures to be tough. It's funny, if you were to look at San Francisco's team as a whole, with all the injuries that they've had, and then going up against Houston on the road, you would say absolutely, this game is going to favor the Houston Texans. But without an offensive line that can protect, it's definitely leaning towards San Francisco. And then if Houston doesn't have their number 1 wide receiver, Nico Collins, who's a bona fide top 10 outside threat in the league, then it really starts shifting to San Francisco. And you just have the questions. Like, you haven't seen Houston the entire season be able to have success in the drop back passing game. Haven't really been able to run the football well consistently. Look, this is a top 3 defense in the league. They lead the NFL in points allowed on the defensive side of the ball. There's no doubt about that. They had a 4-point lead before week 7 of the season, before giving up those 27 points. But frankly, I'd give up, I'd say 14, 17 of those points were realistically how many points Seattle would have scored if Houston had any semblance of an offense at this point. I mean, that Houston squad was battling their butts off. The first half was a bit slower, but after it was about 10 minutes left in the second quarter, they really started to hum and play a lot better on that side of the football. So 17 rushing attempts, 49 passing attempts. That will not stand here. I don't care what the yards per carry is. CJ Stroud, he's got to run the football a little bit more to even inject a little bit of life into this team. You remember him in the semifinal against Georgia. A lot of people that didn't know about CJ were shocked that he was that type of an athlete, setting up the Buckeyes for the eventual miss on that game-winning field goal to them by Noah Ruggles. But CJ Stroud can move. And he needs to make the decision at some point here that if guys just aren't creating separation, I don't have enough time. It's first read, second read, got to take off and run the football myself. Otherwise, you're really a little bit concerned about this offense being able to have success against San Francisco. If I'm San Francisco, what are we changing? It's going to be a matter of, do we get the ball to Christian McCaffrey out of the backfield running it, or do we get the football to him passing the ball, getting it in his hands? You know, he's probably going to be getting his 25, 28 total touches in this one. He's been, I'm very happy that I took him in the back end of the first round. I had him at a 10th overall pick in one of my fantasy drafts, and very happy I took him. I was just thinking, if he stays healthy, he's one of the best players in fantasy. Wound up getting a little bit lucky with that pick. Now I'm starting to feel good about myself, and that's exactly when you get a little bit nervous. But if Christian McCaffrey stays healthy, I don't see a reason why they don't have an ability to get to 10 wins, absolutely be right there with Seattle and LA to maybe get 11, 12 wins on the season and get that division title. And the way that the NFC is looking, it's really just about making the playoffs. Just find a way to get into the dance, and you've got a chance to get to the Super Bowl. There's no doubt with some of the inconsistencies of LA and a team like Philly and the Bucks right now, who Baker just had his weakest performance. So that NFC, it may be strong, but any given Sunday, and for Houston, you look at the AFC, it's a little bit more top heavy with the Colts right now, and you're trying to chase that team. A drop to 2-5 overall would just about be catastrophic to their chances to get off the mat and be competitive in that division or for a playoff spot. Fortunate enough that AFC is just so poor at the back end of it. How many teams are 1-6, 2-5 that have just been awful this season? I believe there's 5 teams that are 2-5 or worse in the AFC right now. Looking at Tennessee and in Cleveland and the Jets being 0-7. There's a whole bunch of them down there. So I just see this game having that much of an importance. What type of Houston do we see? Is there a little bit more urgency on the offensive side of the ball, but does it even matter with how limited they've been? How are you going to try to attack San Francisco? It looked like in the game against Seattle that they could get the ball to Woody Marks a little bit as a pass threat, catching the football out of the backfield. I think they could do that a little bit more against them. Bijan Robinson, clearly Atlanta, that's something that they probably are regretting. They didn't do a little bit more, just getting the football into his hands. San Francisco did a good job of bottling him up overall. The guy's clearly shown an ability to take over a game. But, man, I'm going to go with the San Francisco 49ers to win this game. I just see it being very tough for Houston as an offense to push the ball down the field, to be able to, I see it low scoring, honestly. Let's go 23-20. The 49ers get the win on the road at Houston, putting them to 2-5 on the season. I know it might get a little bit of slack on that Houston, on their upside, their ceiling is an AFC championship contender. Without a doubt that this team could be in the AFC championship game if the offense was humming. But the way the offensive lines looked, we're harping and we're beating a dead horse on that point. So that'll be the prediction there. 23-20. San Francisco 49ers get the road at Houston. My initial thoughts were that Houston could win this game, but right now, at the status of Nico Collins, I just can't come out and say that they will get that done. I want to hear from you guys. Who do you think wins this matchup? This one is very tough for me because when you back a Lion into a corner and there's nowhere to go, you back a Houston Texans defense into a corner and they don't have anywhere to go, and you saw that amount of takeaways. It's a very random stat. I would not be shocked if Houston defense has a great game and they fundamentally with Azeez Alshire and they can take Christian McCaffrey somewhat out of this game, limiting him catching the football out of the backfield. But it's just like such a tough matchup. Like, what type of player do you use to be able to take him out of the game? It's very tough. So 23-20, Niners get the win on the road and improve to 6-2 on the year. And Houston with the loss, moving them to 2-5. I want to hear from you. Let me know down below in the comments who you think wins this game. I appreciate you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed, please subscribe for more Blitz of Blender content in the future. My name is Josh Blender. I make NFL and college videos every day. Please look forward to more of this content in the future as we get going here. I want to hear from you. That's the main thing. Trying to build this community out and engage with all of you passionate fans. Appreciate you so much, and I'll see you next time.